Welcome back from the weekend, and in a special way, welcome to Good Morning Uganda. Thank you for keeping it locked on Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. We are coming live to you from the broadcast house here at Nile Avenue. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and today, in a special way, again, we are kicking off the World Breastfeeding Week, and the theme for the 2024 World Breastfeeding Week is closing the gap, breastfeeding support for all. So any mother expectant or the one that has already given birth, we are giving them support as they breastfeed their children. What are the importances of breastfeeding? We will be launching into that conversation later on at 7 in our news bill, and I will be speaking to experts on the matter. So you should stay tuned and get to learn a thing or two about breastfeeding, but also why it is important for us to support the women that are breastfeeding. Well, right next to me is Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono. He just came back from the weekend, just like you and I hope you had a beautiful weekend.
This time it was a very busy one. I don't think.
Was there a return on investment?
Definitely there was return on investment. Yes, it was a very busy one, but also we pray for the people in Ntoroko. River Semlik burst its backs, and many of the people there are now homeless. Thousands are homeless. They don't have where to get. They can't go to their gardens. They can't graze their cattle. So they really need our prayers. And I saw the chairman of the district calling upon office of the Prime Minister that they should take them food. They should find how these people can have where to stay, because most of their houses, but not forgetting the joy of the weekend. That is Joshua Cheptegei, who brought us joy wherever every Ugandan was. People were screaming. Around 10 hours deep in a village, but I was shocked that people gathered in huge numbers to watch anywhere where there was a TV connected to DSTV,
yes,
so they could enjoy.
That was pretty amazing. So Joshua Cheptegei broke his own record, and he now has 2 gold medals and 1 silver. Is it 1 silver or 2 silvers? Jerome Paul, you most times know these things better than I do. Good morning.
Good morning to you, and good morning to our dear viewer. Thank you very much for joining us. We are here for yet another week of great experiences and moments, and looking forward to what the Olympic Games has to offer for the Ugandans who are still in the chase for the medals, with Peruth Chemtai shooting high. Also, she will be heading into the finals for the steeplechase. Then we also expect Joshua Cheptegei to go back again into another quest for a medal, this time around in the 5,000 meters. Now, he only has 1 gold medal, because that is the only medal we have so far as Uganda in these Olympic Games. In Tokyo in 2020, Joshua Cheptegei had silver. Yes. Now he managed to get gold. So you get to realize that many Ugandans were really rallying behind him. And well, he had all the hopes of millions of Ugandans and the dreams of millions of Ugandans on his back, and he did not disappoint. But of course, our prayers and our hopes are still with him to ensure that he also returns with gold in the 5,000 meters. But then also Peruth Chemtai is also the other Ugandan who will be in the fight for gold, if you are to ask me. So that means we are really excited to see that. But also, over the weekend, in the other news that has been making rounds is the fact that the Deputy Speaker to Parliament survived dying in a helicopter. I think a helicopter crash. Yes. I was about to say an helicopter. Hey, and luckily enough, he did not sort of get into any issue with his team, as well as everyone who was with him at the time. So, and I think that is more than enough to give thanksgiving for the Almighty on his side as he starts this week.
That's right.
Everybody had heard different.
There was a lot of noise on X.
There was a lot of noise, but we are thankful that the Deputy Speaker of Parliament is okay, and the team that he was with are also okay. They all survived the helicopter crash. Good morning, dear lady Chantal.
Good morning, Olive. Welcome back from the weekend. How was it?
It was relaxing. Yes.
Great. I wish I could say the same, but nonetheless, we're here. It's a Monday, and we are geared up for the week.
Okay.
And I almost said weekend. Clearly, I need like a day between Sunday and Monday.
And then I don't know who sat and decided that the weekend is 2 days.
Actually,
and the work week is 5.
I don't know if you've ever realized that at a point when you're starting to feel like you're resting, then it's Monday.
Then it's Monday.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very, very unfair. But anyway, we have lots of news gathered for you this morning. And also today, Tarsis Orogot will be running in the 200 meters for men. And Tarsis, in my capacity, is special to me because he's a brother to one of my best friends. But he is also representing Uganda, so look out for him. Now, Trevor Robert is taking us through the first story of the day.
And we will begin with the Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, who commissioned the second electricity substation in Arua to enhance the transmission of electricity to the West Nile region. This substation is part of the Guru Kore Nebi Arua transmission line, which connects the West Nile region to the national electricity transmission grid. The project is expected to further facilitate power trade in the region. The Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited and the World Bank are the major implementers of this project, which has cost government $100 million. The two transmitters each will be having the capacity and have been installed. The government is set to accelerate projects aimed at connecting last line power consumers as well as improving wealth creation initiatives to balance power supply and demand. The West Nile community commends the government for fulfilling its commitment and requests further support to extend power to remote districts and boost other factors of production and value addition in the region. Some districts like Obangi will have to wait a little bit longer as government secures funds for power extension. The infrastructure commissioned will evacuate power from the generation plant at Karuma, Agago, Asua, Nyakaki 1 and 3 to meet the region's unserved demand.
Now moving on, the Archbishop of Kampala Diocese, His Grace Paul Semogere, has expressed concern over the food shortages in communities like Karamoja, even as the country experiences an abundance of food. Archbishop Semogere urged all Christians to extend a helping hand to those in need. He made these remarks while presiding over a fundraising service for the renovation of homes for the needy in Nalukolongo, held at the Uganda Matters Shrine in Namgongo. The Archbishop of Kampala Diocese, His Grace Paul Semogere, has launched a fundraising campaign dubbed the SAF Fund, aimed at raising 4 billion shillings for the renovation of the home for the disadvantaged in Nalukolongo. During the fundraising event at the Uganda Matters Shrine in Namgongo, His Grace Paul Semogere urged Christians to support the initiative and encourage them to live God-fearing lives. The director of the SAFU Fund, Edward Kanyike, assured continued support for the church's efforts to help the vulnerable. The event successfully raised funds to support the initiative.
And moving on, the executive director of the Organization of African First Ladies Against HIV/AIDS, Beat by Ngana Biswangwa, has launched a book in which the collection is of her diverse life experience. She identifies with the main character, Olivia, sharing her personal journey of growing up without adequate preparation. In the book, Ngana reflects on her journey of self-discovery and questions whether getting married and having children was the right path for her. The First Lady and Minister for Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, presided over this masterpiece, saying it would impact both young people and married couples. She challenged adults to document their own stories, highlighting the importance of recording both good and bad experience. In the book, Olivia endures significant turmoil while Okello struggles with managing his emotions. Ngana underscores the importance of diversity, pain and sadness, not forgetting sorrow and grief. The book also highlights the abundance of counselors available for the marriages in distress and offer potential solutions for struggling couples. Immediate former Vice Chancellor, Uganda Christian University, Reverend Canon Dr. John Senyonyi, explained that successful marriage is built on give and take philosophy, emphasizing love that continuously gives without ceasing.
And lastly, in our local news, Mbara City Woman Member of Parliament Rita Atkwasa Wahika has appealed to whoever has settled in a wetland to leave voluntarily. Atkwasa warned against the cost implication of wetland destruction, especially in densely populated areas. Mbara City Woman Member of Parliament Rita Atkwasa Wahika has asked all people still occupying wetlands to leave voluntarily. Atkwasa was presiding over the handing over of 70 beehives to 10 groups of Rakishakizi ward donated by the Ministry of Water and Environment. The beehives donated to the groups were purchased under the Program of Provision Wetlands for Wellbeing Alternative Livelihood option. The beehives given to 7 farming groups of Rakishakizi ward are intended to reduce wetland usage. The Western Regional Wetlands Coordinator under the Ministry of Water and Environment in the Department of Wetlands Management, Daniel Businje, says giving farmers beehives for apiary is a way of providing alternative livelihoods which can be applied in wetlands sustainably. The Deputy Resident City Commissioner, Mbara City South Division, Robert Kanusu, appreciated the government through the Ministry of Water and Environment for the alternative for better wetland usage. Now that does it in our local news. We still have more in the realm of international news with Chantal.
Well, internationally, there will be an emergency response meeting in Downing Street on Monday after more than 150 people were arrested following violent disorder in UK towns and cities over the weekend. It comes after Sir Keir Starmer condemned an attack on a hotel housing asylum seekers in Wrexham and promised those involved in unrest would face the full force of the law. Police responded to violent scenes in Tamworth, Middlesbrough, Bolton, Hull and Weymouth, among other parts of the UK. Prime Minister vowed to do whatever it takes to bring those thugs to justice as he addressed the nation on Sunday. Cobra meetings, as they are often called, are named after Cabinet Office Briefing Room A in Whitehall. It is an emergency response committee, a get-together of ministers, civil servants, the police, intelligence officers, and others appropriate to whatever they are looking into. Monday's meeting of the emergency committee will be intended to provide the government with an update on the violence over the weekend and the response in coming days. It will involve relevant ministers and police representatives. Moving on, at least 91 people have been killed, including 13 police officers, and dozens more injured in a new round of violence in Bangladesh as police fired tear gas and lobbed stun grenades to disperse tens of thousands of protesters who returned to the streets to ask Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina to resign. The deaths were reported by the police and doctors on Sunday in the capital Dhaka and the northern districts of Bogora, Pabna and Rangpur, as well as Magura in the west, Komila in the east, and Barizo and Feni in the south. The attack on the police took place at the Enai-2 police station in the northwest city of Siranjan. According to Additional Deputy Inspector General Vijay Basak, the Bangladesh police, the identity of attackers is unknown. The demonstrators are demanding Hasina's resignation after earlier protests in July that began with students calling for an end to a quota system for government jobs and escalated into violence that killed 200 people. Hasina said those who are engaging in the sabotage and the destruction in the name of protests were no longer students but criminals and said people would deal with them with an iron hand. Also in other stories, Mali says it has cut diplomatic relations with Ukraine after a military official suggested Kyiv had played a role in deadly fighting near the Algerian border last month. Dozens of Malian soldiers and mercenaries from Russia's Wagner group were killed in days of clashes at Tuareg separatist rebels, with Tuareg separatist rebels and fighters linked to Al-Qaeda. Adriv, the spokesman of Ukrainian police intelligence, said last week that the rebels had been given the necessary information to conduct the attacks. A top Malian official, Colonel Abdoulaye Maiga, said his government was shocked to hear the claim and accused Ukraine of violating Mali's sovereignty. Yusuf's comments admitted Ukraine's involvement in a cowardly, treacherous and barbaric attack by armed terrorist groups that had led to the death of Malian soldiers. Colonel Maiga's statement said Mali has decided to break off relations with immediate effect. He said last week Mali's army admitted it had suffered significant losses during several days of fighting earlier that erupted on 25th July. With that, we come to the end of our international stories this morning.
Well, thank you, Chantal. Now we have the press review with Jerome Paul Sonko.
According to the new vision, 5,000 teachers have applied for early retirement. Why is that so? This includes the science teachers whose pay was enhanced among the applicants, then also among those who have applied for early retirement. Then URA exceeds July target by 93 billion shillings, according to new details. Then also, Miss Uganda Queen has been crowned, Natasha Nyonyozi, in the new vision. Then Cheptegei shares secrets behind his 10,000 meters gold. Museveni launches 132 kV power station for West Nile. Then Red Cross at 60. Read about it in the new vision. For the Daily Monitor, taxman has been killed in a brawl with a priest. Then also, historical debt paid, power connection gives West Nile wings to fly to wealth, says the Daily Monitor. Then George Otieno says, I arrived at Luzira on a stretcher, as Nyonyozi wins Miss Uganda Beauty Crown. Then in Olympics, Uganda holds breath for another gold in Chemtai, as residents up in arms over Econ City. Then healthy living, the scandal of poverty on Uganda's islands. Then in the other news, is Uganda an unhappy nation? Question there. Then the Daily Nation in Kenya, faces behind Ruto and Raila political deal. There are 6 faces at the front page of the Daily Nation today. For Azimio leader Raila Odinga, joining President Ruto was the lesser of 2 evils. Then CS nominees haunted by ghosts of their pasts. Then also Kenyan stars on course for Olympic medals. As Sayototi death, new details on chopper crash. Then in matters economy, state's aviation revenue up 59% on more flights. Then lastly, from the press reviews, the Citizen newspaper, the changing face of Dodoma, the strategic relocation of the State House from Dar es Salaam to this central location by the Tanzanian government has resulted in Dodoma becoming one of Africa's fastest growing cities. Then going commando, health risk or fashion risk. You can read about women and the risks of not wearing a bra. Then national crime, police launch probe of live officers accused of rape and sodomy. Then Tanzania ponders local industrial sugar production with at least 250,000 tons of industrial sugar that Tanzania presently imports each year to meet the demand within their market. And that does it for our press review this morning.
Well, thank you, Jerome. Now, I would like to clarify on something. At the start, we did say that Joshua Cheptegei has 1 medal, gold medal. It turns out that, yes, he has 1 gold medal in 10,000 meters and 1 gold medal in 5,000 that he got from Tokyo in 2020 and 2 silvers. But Ruben Pima will be sharing more with us. Still, right now, he's the world's fastest runner in 10,000 meters. Congratulations, Joshua, and thank you so much for putting Uganda out there. Promoting Uganda this way is the best thing you have done for your country. Now we will take a short break, and when we come back, we will be speaking matters breastfeeding and breastfeeding support. Stay. Welcome back from the weekend, and in a special way, welcome to Good Morning Uganda. Thank you for keeping it locked on Uganda Broadcasting Corporation. We are coming live to you from the broadcast house here at Nile Avenue. My name is Olive Monica Najuma, and today, in a special way again, we are kicking off the World Breastfeeding Week, and the theme for the 2024 World Breastfeeding Week is closing the gap, breastfeeding support for all. So any mother expectant or the one that has already given birth, we are giving them support as they breastfeed their children. What are the importances of breastfeeding? We will be launching into that conversation later on at 7 in our news bill, and I will be speaking to experts on the matter. So you should stay tuned and get to learn a thing or two about breastfeeding, but also why it is important for us to support the women that are breastfeeding. Well, right next to me is Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono. He just came back from the weekend, just like you and I hope you had a beautiful weekend.
This time it was a very busy one. I don't think.
Was there a return on investment?
Definitely there was return on investment. Yes, it was a very busy one, but also we pray for the people in Toroko. River Semlik burst its backs, and many of the people there are now homeless. Thousands are homeless. They don't have where to get, they can't go to their gardens, they can't graze their cattle. So they really need our prayers, and I saw the chairman of the district calling upon the office of the Prime Minister that they should take them food, they should find how these people can have where to stay, because most of their houses, but not forgetting the joy of the weekend. That is Joshua Cheptegei, who brought us joy wherever every Ugandan was. People were screaming. Around 10 hours deep in a village, but I was shocked that people gathered in huge numbers to watch anywhere where there was a TV connected to DSTV,
yes,
so they could enjoy.
That was pretty amazing. So Joshua Cheptegei broke his own record, and he now has 2 gold medals and 1 silver. Is it 1 silver or 2 silvers? Jerome Paul, you most times know these things better than I do. Good morning.
Good morning to you, and good morning to our dear viewer. Thank you very much for joining us. We are here for yet another week of great experiences and moments, and looking forward to what the Olympic Games has to offer for the Ugandans who are still in the chase for the medals, with Peruth Chemtai shooting high. Also, she will be heading into the finals for the steeplechase. Then we also expect Joshua Cheptegei to go back again into another quest for a medal, this time around in the 5,000 meters. Now, he only has 1 gold medal, because that is the only medal we have so far as Uganda in these Olympic Games. In Tokyo in 2020, Joshua Cheptegei had silver. Yes. Now he managed to get gold. So you get to realize that many Ugandans were really rallying behind him. And well, he had all the hopes of millions of Ugandans and the dreams of millions of Ugandans on his back, and he did not disappoint. But of course, our prayers and our hopes are still with him to ensure that he also returns with gold in the 5,000 meters, but then also Peruth Chemtai.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't go.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all next networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the MyMTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, it is said that by the time of their birth, between the time of birth to 3 months, 70% of children in Uganda are exclusively breastfed. But by the time they're 3 months going forward, only 37% are exclusively breastfed. Yet scientists tell us that children should be exclusively breastfed for at least 6 months. And now after 6 months, you can introduce other foods alongside breastfeeding. So why is it that 37% are being breastfed exclusively after 3 months? We are speaking matters breastfeeding, and we are kicking off the breastfeeding week with this conversation. I'm not alone in studio. I am with Imelda Nile, who is a midwife, and also Tagea Sophia Bruhan, who is a midwife at Masaka Regional Referral Hospital, and she's also a breastfeeding counselor. We will delve deeper into the conversation regarding breastfeeding, and also the theme for this year is closing the gap and breastfeeding support for all. Why is it important to support breastfeeding mothers? These are some of the questions we are pondering on, and I implore you, man or woman, to be part of this conversation, because I believe you will learn something or two and you will be able to support that mother that is within your community or even in your household. I'm Olive Monica Najuma to take you through this conversation with these two amazing ladies. I'll start with Imelda. Good morning.
Good morning, Olive.
How are you?
I'm good.
You had a good travel?
Yes, please.
Early morning?
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
We are glad to have you.
Thank you for inviting us here. We are glad to be here. We also thank the sponsors of this program of allowing us to be here to discuss more about the importance of breastfeeding to these mothers. Olive,
yes,
you brought it out very well that immediately when the babies are born, 70% they start with breastfeeding, but by the time they are six months, it is already down by 30%. So what could be the issues that along the way mothers stop breastfeeding? Or maybe the babies refuse breastfeeding as they normally say. We are going to discuss all this.
Okay.
Yeah. And being that this is the month for breastfeeding, and in a special way, the week for breastfeeding, it's about to support mothers and to make the community out there to understand how breastfeeding is so important. By supporting these mothers, we are going to see supporting them at the community, the family level, and even the healthcare workers to support these mothers. So we are going to talk about all that.
And I would like for us to delve right into that. I will still be with you, Imelda. Why is it that 70% of children are exclusively breastfed at the time of their birth and up to 3 months? And then the number exponentially goes down to 37%. What are some of the contributing factors to the reduction in the number of children that are being exclusively breastfed?
Thank you, Olive. As I had said, that 70% are breastfed immediately, because we initiate breastfeeding immediately when the child has been born in the hospital or wherever they have delivered from. So when they go home, there are a lot of surrounding things that make these babies to go off the breast. If I can take an example, if at home, the family, the mother needs support. If the mother is not supported, she's alone with her baby, she has to complete the core at home, no one is supporting. So many times the baby is not breastfeeding, and with the time she doesn't have enough time to breastfeed. The baby gets tired and maybe may think that it is better now to give other feeds than breastfeeding. The working class mothers, the policies that we have in Uganda that support nursing mothers who are also breastfeeding mothers, you may find that some companies only give these mothers only 1 month maternity leave. Actually, with 1 month maternity leave, the mother is going to leave her baby at home. And during that time, what happens, guess?
Yes.
When she's busy working, then she leaves very late. So at home, what they do, they support the baby with those other feeds. And by the end of 6 months, the baby is already started on the feeds. Even the community itself is not supporting, it's not supportive to these mothers there. They need to hide. It's like when they are breastfeeding these babies, they need to go and hide somewhere, of which many areas, even the working areas, there are no breastfeeding clinics where these mothers can breastfeed their babies.
Yes.
All these can be contributing factors.
Okay. We are speaking to Imelda, who is a midwife, and the conversation today is supporting breastfeeding mothers. We have just kicked off the breastfeeding week, and we are looking into the challenges some mothers face and how best we can support them. Now, on the panel with me today is a midwife, Sophia, who is also a counselor, a breastfeeding counselor at that is Masaka Regional Referral Hospital. I think because it's the same road at Gontumbara.
Yes.
Anyway, Sophia, good morning once again.
Good morning, Olive. Good morning, Uganda. I am so happy to be here in this month and this week where we are talking about breastfeeding to intensify efforts in the whole world towards protection, promotion and support for breastfeeding, an issue that is very important for us, the midwives, because breastfeeding is very crucial, not only for the survival of the babies born, but also for proper development and growth of these children. They need to be fed rightly well for them to grow and develop well so that they are useful citizens to themselves, to their families, the communities and the nation at large.
All right, now I like that you've touched on some of the benefits of breastfeeding, but I believe we can go deeper to understand them further, because there is someone watching or probably who is of the view, well, I fed mine a cow milk and they survived. Mine started drinking, there are parents who prefer drinking, rather feeding their children milk we buy from the supermarket. I won't name some of the brands they prefer. And also there is this one that is tinned formula.
Yes.
So we are having this conversation and we are saying it's very important for children to be breastfed, but help a parent out there to understand it even further, why it is very important for a child to be breastfed, especially in the first 6 months of life.
Well, thank you very much for that very important area that I need to let people appreciate. I'll start by saying that breast milk is the most rightly balanced feed for the newborn babies. It contains all the nutrients they need for growth, for development, for the whole body of a newborn needs to be supported through nutrition for them to develop properly. And the contents that are required for that to happen are rightly balanced in breast milk. There isn't any other feed that has the concentrations of whatever is required for proper growth of a newborn. There isn't any other feed that has them other than breast milk. So when these babies have the breast milk exclusively as recommended for the first 6 months, it helps them to grow well, first and foremost, prevent diseases or illnesses that could later kill them. So that means when we breastfeed them properly well, we prevent the morbidities that could come without breastfeeding, and then the deaths that could occur if a child got sick. It also helps them to as they go through their developmental stages when a baby is born, from day 1 to the later days that come by the months, they are going through different stages of life and they need to be supported. So the breast milk has what is required for that to happen for them. And it helps babies that are breastfed. Research shows that they are more intelligent than babies that have not breastfed or those that have breastfed for little. It also gives babies some protection against developing type 2 diabetes. Yes, that is how very important breast milk is, or breastfeeding is for these babies. The way they turn out is far better and far more different than any other baby that has had other feeds other than the breast milk.
Interesting. So I can look at 2 children, one that was exclusively breastfed or breastfed for a long period of time, and then the other who wasn't, and I tell the difference.
Exactly.
Really?
Exactly. In their smartness, we can see this even in schools.
Oh, really?
Schools can tell us, yes.
Interesting.
Yes, research has really followed up and brought out that. Yes, to reality, we are able to see the difference.
Okay, I'm having this conversation with 2 midwives. One is Tagaya Sophia Bruhan, and she says you can put 2 children against each other and you will tell one who was breastfed and the other who was not. But now going back to midwife Imelda, it's important. I think mothers, especially if they go for antenatal classes, they understand how important it is to breastfeed their children. What do you think, in your perspective and experience, have been some of the deterring factors? As you mentioned that mothers, there is the work and everything, but let's get back to maybe away from the work, away from being busy. What other deterring factors are mothers experiencing in terms of producing breast milk?
During antenatal, the work of the midwife is to make sure that we prepare these mothers. We prepare these mothers who are going to give birth by giving them talks on what really they need to prepare themselves, because they need to be healthy, they need to eat very well.
Yes.
To have a balanced diet so that the body gets what it is required to prepare for lactation. They need also to make sure that they prepare to deliver in a safe place and deliver under a skilled birth attendant, because if she doesn't deliver under a skilled birth attendant, she may end up with complications which cannot be managed immediately. And once this mother who has given birth has a complication, she's not going to breastfeed very well. There's going to be interference in the lactation as well, and the baby is also going to miss out, especially those first, the first important days that we want.
Yes.
When if she has delivered in the facility, she goes home. We see these mothers coming along for antenatal. We haven't had a male involvement so much with these mothers because they need to support. The husband is an important person here to support this mother, because when they go back home, the husband needs to understand what the mother is going through to help them, support them. Because they need to rest. Much as they need to do all this work, they need to rest. Because also resting helps the body to rest and the saturation of the blood to move very well, hence goes to the breast, and also lactation increases.
Okay.
Yeah, so when all these are not in place, so lactation is going to be interfered with. Much as every woman would love to breastfeed, but if all these things are there, the mother may not breastfeed very well. I may not even also leave out culture. Yeah, we well know that people think that babies, breast milk is not there in the first days. They think that breast milk will come maybe after 3 days, and yet we are not different from or animals. Because with animals, you see, when they have given birth, immediately the baby will just go and look for the breast, will feed. But the community also needs to understand the process of the breast milk when it is there, so that they can encourage and support these mothers to initiate breastfeeding immediately.
So tell us more about the process of breastfeeding, because, and I like that you were spot on. You said some people believe that breast milk arrives after 3 days. That has been my personal experience, not once, not twice.
Yeah.
So later on I don't struggle, but in the beginning, like, that's what I have noted. The first time it actually came after 4 days, despite being told to keep the baby on the breast so that the milk comes. So for a woman that goes through that, what could be, should I say, problem with her? What would be her challenge?
In the first place, a body of a woman who is pregnant, there are hormones that are in the body when she is pregnant. And when she has delivered, again, there is change or a fall in these hormones in the body. So when these hormones fall, then lactation, that we have already prepared with the good resting and the diet, that is already the breast milk. By 16 weeks, there is already breast milk in the breast.
Okay.
By 16 weeks. By the time the mother gives birth, the breasts are very ready to discharge now the breast milk. But what is there at first is what we call colostrum. Why they say that there is no breast milk, they don't know the importance of this colostrum in the breast. That's why they don't want to breastfeed this. They say this milk is bad, this milk is not good. So they want the other one to come after 3 days. Because after 3 days...
Colostrum is the one which is like watery, so to speak.
Yellowish, like.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah, so because now that is what is present in the breast, they consider that one as not the breast milk, so they are waiting.
But you say it is actually good milk.
That is the best that we would actually encourage mothers to breastfeed, because it has all the nutrients that we want.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, Miss Tagea, is it Miss or Mrs.?
Yes.
Miss, now coming back to you, we did say that at birth 70% of children are breastfed, and then the number drops to 37. What do you do you think that the cultural norms have contributed to the decline in the number of children that are being breastfed at some point in their very young life?
Yes, that is very true. It is one actually of the barriers to exclusive breastfeeding. Our people have their own understanding of what a baby, how a baby needs to feed, that we have to work so hard as health workers, and actually that is why we are here. We have to work so hard to provide the right information to our people in communities where women come from, for them to understand how breastfeeding works, how very important it is, and so that we are able to dispel some of these beliefs that they carry along with them, that they use to interrupt the process of exclusive breastfeeding. I can give an example. In Masaka, where I am in this community where women believe that all newborns must be given some feeds, some local feeds, before even the breast milk is put there. Yes.
Local
because
feeds
to
like
them,
what? Herbs?
yes, they are herbs. They are prepared by our grandmothers. The grandmothers usually are the ones that are preparing when a baby is born. They think that the baby, the colic pains that affect babies can be prevented.
Before breast milk.
Can be prevented if a baby is given these local feeds before breastfeeding, and they are continued as the baby is breastfeeding.
Oh dear.
Yes, it is so much of a belief that almost every mother that comes to the hospital, will have to address this. If you don't, you will find them when they have already started giving, or if they don't give in the hospital, then as soon as they go home, they are going to start interrupting the process of breastfeeding. with those herbs because of what the culture they believe in tells them.
So what dangers could these herbs pose to the children,
Now,
to the babies?
First and foremost, if we look at the babies, this newborn's gastrointestinal tract that has not been exposed to any other feed at all, it just cannot be able to tolerate a feed other than the breast milk. So they are harmful in that they can even cause wounds along the gastrointestinal tract as the baby swallows them. They can cause wounds which can expose babies to infections that they wouldn't have been exposed to if they're only taking the breast milk. They can, because the baby is getting another feed other than breast milk and it is filling their tummy, then it means you're going to delay them to feed and help the body to produce more breast milk, because breast
Your
milk
body,
comes
the
from,
mother. Yes.
it is the baby suckling onto the breast that triggers the body or the brain, where the center in the brain that is responsible for release of the breast milk, to know that someone needs to feed, so I should release more breast milk for this baby. So you're giving in another feed, it means you're delaying and even interfering with the process of breast milk production by the body. So it means the baby will not be able to get enough breast milk. We usually get complaints of, I don't have enough breast milk. That only comes in because there is something else you're giving this baby that is delaying them or preventing them from doing enough stimulation through suckling onto the breast for the body to produce breast milk. And that may cause the baby to end up malnourished, which we could have prevented if we only gave the breast milk. It will affect the growth and development that we started with, emphasizing that breast milk helps with proper growth and development. It may actually end up having this baby sick and back into the hospital, which would end up being more expensive even for the family, and yet it is something you could have prevented by just providing the natural breast milk that is correctly balanced with the right nutrients to support this baby to grow.
Wow. They say you learn every day, and I hope that you're learning something right about now regarding breastfeeding. There are so many myths that surround motherhood, right from pregnancy, then childbearing, giving birth, and then when it comes to breastfeeding. So according to Miss Tegea here, she says it is actually detrimental for your child to be given any sort of herbs when they have just been born, because you might be creating a problem that will now devolve into something else that you may not like and become more expensive, puts the child's life at risk. Yet you could avoid all of this by using one simple method, which is cheap and readily available: your breast milk. Now, Nance Sophia, midwife. Sophia, it's all the same.
Yes.
Okay. So it looks like for us to have proper breastfeeding support, it is a communal thing. We have to work together. So how can healthcare providers, families, and the community work together to support breastfeeding mothers?
Thank you very much. Now, the healthcare workers that have this knowledge that is scientifically proven, that the communities of our people that may not know this, that the healthcare providers have the information, they have the evidence, and the communities may not have, those that are not healthcare workers.
Yes.
Now, the healthcare workers have to work with families and the rest of the people that do not understand what we understand as health workers about breastfeeding, to educate them, to create knowledge, to have them understand and appreciate the advantages of breastfeeding and how we all come in as stakeholders to support this woman that is pregnant. We have to start before delivery, during pregnancy, to support them to be in their best place as far as their body is concerned, and also the knowledge. We use the breastfeeding clinic and we go to the communities to educate the woman. But then the woman needs the support of others around her, that is the family and the community. So the healthcare workers, the families, the communities have to come together to all appreciate the importance of breastfeeding and how to support the woman. And this has to be headed by the healthcare workers like us, the midwives, who now understand the benefits and how the support is important and how it can come in, to have them appreciate what they can do. And then we work together with them to continue supporting this woman during pregnancy. When she comes to labor, immediately after delivery, there's a very important opportunity of initiating the baby on breast milk by maintaining the baby skin to skin with their mom for the first 1 hour of delivery. It is very, very important to have the baby start breastfeeding early on, and that process will also help the body to start preparing to release breast milk for this baby adequately and increase the chances of exclusive breastfeeding. And also, after discharge, the people around this woman need to be supported by the healthcare workers to understand the further support they should offer this woman that has delivered when she goes back home, in form of allowing her time to rest by taking care of the things she would take care of and deny her time to feed her baby, allowing her to understand how to feed her baby. Before she leaves, she needs to know how to feed. Then the people that go with her need to understand how to continue supporting her, to understand how to feed her baby.
And as you say that, what came to my mind is that someone may be wondering, what do you mean by helping her to know how to feed the baby? Isn't it just a case of get the breast, put in the child's mouth? But as a mother myself, I've witnessed, especially first-time mothers, struggling with how to handle the nipple and also help the baby to suckle. So now, before I go back to Nurse Imelda, we have talked about the community, we have talked about healthcare workers and even families, but I would like for you to categorically specify for us why it's very important for the fathers to be supportive to their breastfeeding wives. That is for you, Nurse Sophia.
Oh, thank you very much.
Just briefly.
Thank you very much. Now, the fathers are very, very important because first and foremost, they are home with this woman that has delivered.
Yes.
They are the one that offer support that this woman needs as a new mother, even before she delivers. For example, they provide the things to use at home for this woman to survive and be able to take care of her baby. So these fathers are very, very important to understand what more they can do beyond just the provision of food at home for this woman, so that the woman can be able, her body can be able to make enough breast milk, and also to have the time for her to breastfeed her baby. When the fathers are absent and they do not understand how more they can support beyond provision of food, then we see a very large gap there, because it means what the woman may need beyond eating for her to breastfeed her baby well, the father may not be able to provide if he does not appreciate why he should. That is why we usually encourage them. We actually want them to come to hospitals. We should be able to go out and look for them. But when we are not able to, as the women come to the hospitals, we want them to come along so that we educate them and have them appreciate that other support that they can provide to this woman. Just beyond providing food, the love is very important, the encouragement, the environment where the woman is. It has to be an enabling environment for her. The father, the husband is very important in ensuring that very enabling environment, the encouragement, the bringing her back to the hospital for those visits where we check on her and the baby to say how she's doing. It is the father that can provide that
baby.
time.
Now, Sophia, you're not mentioning we have sleepless nights with the baby, so it helps if the father can help at night with the baby, or any time when he can.
Exactly, including also taking part in doing some house chores.
Well, we are not trying to put men on the spot here, but like the midwife has said, it's really important for partners to be helpful to their breastfeeding wives. And when you create an environment where she feels rested and loved, then the baby is going to flourish. Now, going back to Nurse Imelda, I believe there have been initiatives and technologies to help women in their breastfeeding journey. What are some of these?
Thank you. Some of these, like if I take an example of those mothers who have delivered and they are sick, they are not in position to breastfeed their babies. The midwife, when they are in the hospital, they help them to express their breast milk. So they express and they give the baby so that the baby doesn't miss out. There are some also facilities that have milk banks.
Yes.
That can support these babies. There are people out there who can offer breast milk.
Who have a lot of it.
There are those ones who have a lot. Or those ones who have maybe lost their babies, but they are willing to offer their breast milk. This can also be used to support these mothers who don't have breast milk. Or they are very sick to breastfeed. Or even maybe they have died and the babies are there. So they can use this to breastfeed these babies.
Well, I've seen my neighbor donating lots of breast milk. Some ladies are really blessed. Lots of breast milk to mothers that are struggling to find milk for their children. But of course, it's important to note that before this milk is given to your child, necessary tests have been done.
They go through them.
Okay. Well, our time is fast spent. We can't go any further than this on this conversation, but the breastfeeding week has kicked off today, and we were speaking about support that you can give breastfeeding mothers. We were speaking about the support that you can give to breastfeeding mothers. Now, as we close, I would like to get parting shots from Nurse Imelda.
We are so grateful for having this chance to come here to talk to the nation, to tell them or to remind them about the importance of breastfeeding. And we thank the sponsors of this program that have allowed us to come here. To the nurses there, the health workers, the midwives there, please, since this is our month for encouraging mothers for breastfeeding, please make sure that you do the needful to all mothers out there. To our viewers who are seeing us, please breastfeed, 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 so that we can have a good nation and health nation, and also reduce on our cost for having to visit the health facilities because our babies are sick and we did breastfeed them very well.
Indeed. Thank you so much, midwife Imelda Nile. Now, your parting shots, Miss Tegea.
Thank you very much. I would like everybody to appreciate that deciding to breastfeed a baby as per the recommendations, which are exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months and continuing up to at least 2 years of age, is the most important decision any mother could ever make for their baby. It is so important if we have to see this baby not only stay alive, but also grow into a very healthy adult that is very useful to the nation. It is cheap in the long run as compared to us going for the formula feeds and other feeds that could introduce diseases that cost us a lot of money and may end up costing us the life of this baby as well. And that we need to come in, a lot of us, to support the women to breastfeed their babies. We need to come in as health workers. We need the government to come in and create an enabling environment everywhere within our country and beyond to make sure that women are supported to breastfeed. We need those policies that are friendly to the women and their babies, so that breastfeeding is not something that they shy about, but at any point in time, they have to have access, and we rely on government to help us make sure that some of those things happen. The breastfeeding banks are very important. For now, they are just a few of them that we hear of in Uganda, but we need plenty of them in almost all areas where babies are, so that no baby is denied the chance to breastfeed. To National Healthcare Conferences Uganda, we are very grateful that you're always there to make sure that nurses and midwives are comfortable with the right knowledge and skills of what they can do to do their work better. And for this week and for the whole of this month and even after, we should continue to speak about breastfeeding, support every mother, support families and communities to make sure that all babies enjoy the most nutritious food that is very vital for them to grow properly. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Midwife Tegea Sophia. Now, my parting shot goes to places of work. Mothers need breastfeeding areas, because if they know their children are being well fed and well taken care of, then they will relax and be focused onto their work. So places of work should consider these, marketplaces, corporate companies to mention but a few. But this can only be done through good policies from the government, and also places of work being considerate of their workforce, especially the female workforce. Well, my name is Olive Monica Najuma. We can't go any further than this, but thank you so much for being a part of this conversation. Now, Good Morning Uganda does continue. Stay tuned.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000, or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Nyati Motion Pictures brings you the tragic story of the mighty empire of Bunyoro Kitara. Enjoy the story of Africa's mighty warrior Omkama Kabalega in Tuko Pamoja Bunyoro segment.
Bunyoro would have simply created an East African community that we are looking for today.
When the Bachweze weekend that we see the emergence of all these other kingdoms that were under Bunyoro Kingdom. That's Buganda, Bunyoro, Karagwe, Rwanda, Burundi, Nkore.
We are similar people.
And genetically we are even the same people.
Use that word pamoja. Kagadi at URDT Institute on Friday 2nd August. Hoima Resort Hotel on Saturday 3rd August. Masindi at Bija Hotel on Sunday 4th August 2024. To get a ticket, call 0778 787 660. Tuko pamoja?
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Welcome to GMU Tourism Express. Actually, this is the second day where we are exploring the very many beautiful and diverse species that we have at CTC Conservation Center. It is located along Masaka Road in Impigi, Butambala, and this place is one of the very unique places that you need to visit when you come to the country or when you decide to take over a day to explore Uganda. Because first of all, this is one place where you're going to get so close to these wildlife species. Look at me, who thought that I would be here holding a land tortoise, man. See this baby tortoise. It is very cute, actually. Wow. Anyway, I don't even have words. I'm just running out of words, but it is very nice. And when you think about exploring the country, CTC Conservation Center is a place to you. Come, let's do this.
This is a leopard land tortoise. This is around 8 months old, and this is 3 years old. They are basically vegetarians. They feed on grass in nature and commonly found in northern Uganda, Moroto, Karamoja region. That's why you can basically get to see them. The adult ones, we shall come across them. What they do is they dig and lay eggs and cover. And then that's where the babies hatch from.
What is so unique about the tortoise as a species?
The leopard land, it's the their way how they look and their hard shell, and then they are not commonly found in other places except in hot areas. That's why you can get.
I've actually seen a documentary where a parrot used to teach a young child how to read. This child had a problem with reading. Maybe she had a problem with her tongue that she could not speak properly. So the parents tried so much to teach her how to read, but she failed. But then at home they had a pet that was a parrot. And this parrot, when the parents were away, the parrot would teach the kid how to read. And we are here at CTC Conservation Center with the great parrots. We want to see, can they really mimic the sounds when you say something? Can they really mimic that sound that you've said?
We have the African grey parrots, the kasukus, commonly known as kasukus in Uganda. Very good at mimicking sound if trained. Like if you grow up with it and you teach it, it will copy the sound. They are very intelligent birds, monogamous. They pair for life. If the pattern dies, it will stay single for the rest of its life, or sometimes they also can commit suicide. Like if it loses the husband or the wife, they have to die also. So very intelligent birds. Sometimes people say they are Congo parrots because they are mostly found in Congo, though we have them here in Uganda. You can rate their intelligence to a 5-year-old kid, these ones. And they live for quite long, between 50 to 90 years. They live for so long.
So how old are those?
These we are not sure because they are not born here, so we can't tell.
Where did you get them from?
From here, Uganda, and you cannot tell who is a male, who is a female until you have done a DNA. That's when you can tell that this is a male or this is the female.
A DNA?
Yes.
How do they meet?
How do they mate? God created them in a way that for them they can. They just climb like the normal, the chicken, how it does.
So how do you differentiate that?
We are not sure. We must first do a DNA if we want to know that we have these males, we have these females. We have to first carry out a DNA.
How many parrots do you have?
I think 8. If I'm not mistaken, 8. One of the difference is they mimic, meaning they can copy sounds in your own voice. So if you speak differently, even the kid differently, they will differentiate the voices. And then you cannot distinguish between who is a male, who is a female until you have done a DNA. Unlike in most of the birds, I'll give an example with sunbirds. The bright colored ones are the males, and the ones that are dark colored are the females. Unlike these ones, you must first carry DNA to know that this is a male, this is a female. Feeding, they are basically eat a lot of fruits. They can eat watermelon, they can eat grapes, they can eat maize, they can eat chili, they can eat sugar cane. So they are basically fruit eaters.
You can come yourself and enjoy and have this beautiful moment chilling around with the parrots and trying to see whether they can actually mimic your name. You never know, you could come here and they call your name like Mike. So you never know. Find time and visit CTC Conservation Center. Holding this iguana is not something easy, just like you see it, because man, we had to struggle and see that you get it to hold it. Actually, it is not even dangerous, but because the fear that is instilled in us that holding wildlife, wild animals is a little dangerous. That is why you get scared when you actually first get an encounter with these animals, but they're not dangerous. Now, like this iguana cannot even bite, cannot do anything. You can just hold it peacefully and it can just be there. You holding it peacefully like that, enjoying this experience. Man, coming here to CTC shows you that there is most of the wild animals are not dangerous. You just need to learn how to live with them and be happy together with the wildlife.
Good morning and thank you very much for sticking around to Good Morning Uganda. Welcome along, I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. It's now time for us to head into the business updates this morning. I'll be taking you from the last few days of the month of July as we were approaching the month of August. Now at the start or the kickstart of the month of August, new developments within Uganda, especially from within the city trading district or the business district in Kampala. Many of the traders in Uganda are now looking forward to capitalizing on the efforts by the Uganda Investment Authority to ensure that they become manufacturers. But that aside, there is also information coming in from the African continent, which I'll be definitely taking you through. But first, we start from details and developments coming in from the Uganda Investment Authority, which has launched a new initiative in which it will support traders with a sizable capital base to transition into manufacturers. Now, this initiative has been codenamed Transitioning Chikubo Traders to Manufacturing, which is part of government's agenda to promote import substitution through working out a plan in which the traders can, through a supported process, start manufacturing the goods that they import. Now, such traders, according to the Uganda Investment Authority, will benefit from several incentives, among which include tax holidays, free industrial park land, and capital guarantees. Now, UIA's Director General Robert Mukiza said at a meeting between the Uganda Investment Authority and traders from Chikubo, as well as officials from Global Competitiveness Initiatives and the Presidential Advisory Committee on Exports and Industrial Development, that they have already created a special desk under the Domestic Investment Division to guide on work plans, targets and timelines, which timelines will ensure a faster transition of business people from trading into manufacturing in order to limit the amount of goods that are being imported and limiting the export or limiting the amount of money we lose through sending out money and getting these goods and commodities. Because when you look at the volumes that we import, they outweigh those that we export. And as much as we try to build on that, the government is ensuring that this time around, many of the Ugandans or the Ugandan traders can become mini manufacturers from a small scale to a medium scale until the large scale where they can compete favorably with the bigger manufacturers that we do have in the country. But of course, quite a number of things have to be put across, because when you look at the economies of scale here, it is quite very, very difficult when it comes to local traders, especially those in Chikubo, to become manufacturers of their own. Many of them are still facing difficulties in ensuring that they stay afloat in business. Not only that, but many are also struggling with payment of taxes and even implementing the IFRIS, which has become an issue. Now, the domestic investors are crucial to Uganda's industrialization. That is why there is a special mission to see more of the traders within Uganda getting comfortably practical in regards to manufacturing, and that means it will be also giving room for employment opportunities to be further created and giving the chance for the many traders to expand into bigger franchise. Because that is the aim of every business person. Once someone gets into a profitable kind of situation, the chances are high that they can also expand, not only within Kampala, beyond the city, and even within and across the borders away from Uganda. And that is the aim of the Uganda Investment Authority and the government, to ensure that the traders can now have a huge capital base that will enable them to grow and expand across the borders. Now, well, away from the Ugandan perspective of things, we head to Nigeria, because new developments coming in from Africa's most populous country have further revealed that over the weekend there has been protests that have been rocking some parts of the country. Hundreds of protesters were hitting the streets to ensure that their voices are heard. Now, the reasons behind these protests in Nigeria is due to bad governance, so they say, and then the other is due to the rising inflation and the corruption cases that are rocking the central government. Now, many of the Nigerians using social media and others that physically went on the streets were holding placards ensuring that their voices are heard and speaking against bad governance of President Tinubu. But on the other side of things, the other Nigerians who are unemployed feel that the government is doing nothing to ensure that they get the jobs and also make the cost of living favorable for the many who are living under undesirable conditions. Now, when you look at the developments coming in from there, shows that by the time the protesters arrived in Ojota, the area was 7.5 kilometers away, where demonstrators were converging for the first of a planned 10-day-long protest. Now, the number of protesters had swelled to a couple of thousands, protesters that had started in hundreds. Now, the tens of thousands of people across Africa's most populous country are participating in protests under the banner of End Bad Governance in Nigeria, the same hashtag they are using on X. Now, organizers called for days of street demonstrations beginning on August 1st to protest against bad governance, corruption, inflation, and the increasing cost of living that has left many of the Nigerians reeling and others jobless, while others are also trying hard to earn a living. Now, in parts of the country such as northern Kano and Yobe states, authorities imposed a curfew as some protesters attacked vehicles, others burning tires, as well as the police that was firing back with tear gas canisters. And of course, also other developments have revealed that about 13 people were reported dead due to the police using firearms to disperse of the many protesters who were rocking these protests over the weekend. Now, when you look at some of those, include students that have also been engaged in or that have also been involved in these protests in Nigeria, simply because of the cost of living and the fact that many after graduation have nowhere to go, and the only option is for the many Nigerians to leave their country seeking for greener pastures. Well, as we start off the week, we now look at the forex market to see how the various currencies are faring on the exchange. This is courtesy of the Bank of Uganda. Now, please do note that these currencies change in 3 times. Now, opening time, so the US dollar buy at 3,730.41 while selling at 3,740.41. By midday, the US dollar was buying at 3,722.18 while selling at 3,732.18. Closing time, so the US dollar buy at 3,721.55 shillings while selling was 3,731.55 shillings. And the Great Britain pound was buying at 4,739.76 while selling at 4,752.50. The euro was buying at 4,021.13 shillings while selling at 4,031.93 shillings. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.73 shillings while selling at 28.18 shillings. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.37 shillings while selling was at 1.38 Ugandan shillings. And lastly, the South African rand was buying at 204.11 shilling while selling at 204.66 shillings. I'll surely be back tomorrow morning to give you more details and updates coming in from the world of business. Chantal Oliver Kaninda is here though with the traffic updates. Stick around. Good morning.
It is the 5th day of August 2024, and guess what? It is a Monday, and definitely you're headed for some bit of traffic just in case you have not yet moved. So let's see how different routes are faring so that you know which is better for you to use and which is easier for you to get to your destination without sitting in too much traffic. Now, I am at the junction that takes you to the John Babiha Road, but also takes you to Chira Road, takes you to Kayunga Road, among others. Now, on that very junction, as you can see, there is Chira Road. If you're coming from Chira Road, you'll be finding traffic, especially when you are closing into this junction. But backwards, there is no traffic actually as you're coming from the Chira Road traffic lights. Then Kayunga Road has no traffic, as you can see. If you're using Kayunga Road to connect to this junction as well, you'll be finding no traffic, especially if you're coming from Molago Mawanda Road. Now, Mawanda Road has bits of hold-ups and slow movement, and also parts that are marred with a lot of traffic. So if you cannot use that route and you need to use another one to connect to Acacia Avenue, you can definitely avoid using Mawanda Road because it is marred with a lot of traffic. Now, Kisingiri Road, or the one that slopes down to what is it called? It's called Chebando. Yes, Chebando. You'll be finding a bit of traffic and slow movement for you who is trying to join that junction, and but from backwards, as you can see, you'll be a bit safe, except when you are now getting to the junction that has the Nsoba taxi stage. You'll be finding traffic on there, but generally that route is for you to use. As you can see through Chebando, you are safe to navigate that road. Now, Kisingiri Road has some traffic, as you can see. Mawanda Road traffic, yes. Kisingiri will continue. This one takes us up to the lower Molago Hill. Now, if you're trying to connect to Molago side, I suggest that you use Kisingiri Road and all the way to lower Molago Hill Road, and then connect to Dwaido Road, and you'll be finding no traffic until you get to the roundabout. Now, on that roundabout, still you'll be finding no traffic if you are trying to connect to what I usually call the Molago roundabout, the one that comes from Chira Road, connects to Yusuf Hule Road, but connects also to Haji Musa Kasule Road, or connects to Wandegia side. You'll be finding no traffic whatsoever. And on that very same road, if you are trying to get to Yusuf Hule Road, you'll be finding slow movement in the middle there, but until you get to the junction that now comes from the Acacia Avenue, you'll be finding no traffic whatsoever. If you are onto the Yusuf Fulule Road, as you can see, it is safe for you to use. Upper Molago Hill Road has a bit of traffic, especially when you are closing into the junction that connects you to Chira Road. And then further on to Chira Road, as you can see, there is no traffic at all. For you who is coming and also exiting town, there is no traffic. The John Babiha Road or Acacia Avenue Road has no traffic, and you will only be finding slight hold-ups or slow movement due to the junctions in the middle there, but generally safe for you to move until you get to the junction that takes you to the Upper Kolo Terrace. Also, that place has traffic lights, so rest assured you'll be finding a bit of traffic on there, but nothing big for you to worry about. And as you can see, when you still continue onto Acacia Road and still onto the junction that has Lower Kolo Terrace, but also connects to Winter Crescent, you'll be finding a lot of traffic on there. And after you've skipped that junction, the other part where you'll be finding traffic is as you're closing into the traffic lights at the Uganda Golf Club. That's where you'll be finding a lot of traffic. Now, these traffic lights, or this junction, leads to Yusuf Ole Road, leads to Kafu Road, leads to Seziwa Road, but continues further on to Yusuf Ole Road. Now, if you are proceeding and exiting to Seziwa Road, you'll be finding slow movement and a hold up, especially immediately after that junction. But after that, you are okay to move until further in the middle at the junction that has Chadondo Road. That's where you'll be finding traffic. And so as you are trying to connect to Chintu Road or Tanan Avenue, you'll be finding a lot of traffic on there. So if you can avoid it, you are better off doing the same. Chadondo Road has no traffic, so if you are going to Chadondo Road, you are safe. Macnon Road, no traffic. Seziwa Road, no traffic. Shimoni Road, no traffic. If you are continuing onto Chintu Road or Said Bar Road, there is no traffic whatsoever. Clement Hill has no traffic, as you can see. Now, Yusuf Ule Road, as you now connect to the roundabout that has Nile Avenue, but also has Garden City. You will be finding traffic, especially if you're coming from Yusuf Olde Road, joining that roundabout. If you are exiting onto Nile Avenue, after exiting onto Nile Avenue, there is no traffic, as you can see. But if you are proceeding onto Yusuf Olde Road and you are now trying to join the Ginger Road lights, you will still be finding no traffic except slow movement. Now onto that very junction, you'll be finding that access road has a bit of slow movement, especially for you who is exiting the Mukwana roundabout, trying to join this junction or the Ginger Road lights. You'll be finding traffic. Now 8th Street is mad with some traffic, especially when you have just exited or trying to join the junction that leads you to Mukwana Road. 6th Street has no traffic whatsoever. Please note that 7th Street has a bit of hold-ups because of the construction that is taking place. So if you are walking or using that route, if you're in a hurry, I suggest you do not take it. And also, if you are walking or using a border, I still suggest you do not use 7th Street. It is still too dirty. And then Mukwana Road has no traffic, as you can see. You will be safe to move to whichever place you are going to. And Prince Badru Kakungulu Road also has no traffic, as you can see. And that's it for our traffic updates this morning. Good Morning Uganda agenda will be up next. Stay with us.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100*21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
Juko. Yo. Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the parish development model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, Sebatia. It is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. But what you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The parish development model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Coming soon on UBC.
Welcome to Inside Broadcasting,
sharing with you the process behind what you see on the screens.
My name is Lorraine Masika Kazimoto.
Step behind the scenes and witness the magic that brings your daily broadcasts to life.
That's why I come out openly to actually tell you that I'm an investigative journalist, that even when you see me here, I'm actually investigating you guys. So you should be aware about that.
Experience the hustle, the heart, and the human stories of our on and off-air staff.
I see my phone ringing and I'm like, ooh, which number is this? I hear the president on the other line.
The president of the Republic of Uganda.
Of Uganda, yes.
Be inspired, amazed, and part of the journey that powers Uganda's most captivating TV and radio moments.
Because good broadcast comes down to an individual. They should be artistic.
This is Inside Broadcasting.
Inside Broadcasting.
Inside Broadcasting with Mark Wadula.
Coming soon on UBC.
Taking care of your bones is like giving your body a solid foundation for a healthy and active life. And now, let's dive into practical advice that you can easily weave into your daily routine, ensuring your bones stay strong and support you every step of the way. Number 1. Adequate calcium intake. Calcium is crucial for bone health. Include calcium-rich foods in your diet, such as dairy products, leafy green vegetables, tofu, and fortified foods. If needed, consider calcium supplements, but consult with your healthcare provider first. Number 2. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is necessary for the absorption of calcium. Spend time outdoors to get natural sunlight and include vitamin D-rich foods in your diet, such as fatty fish, egg yolks, and fortified foods. If necessary, your healthcare provider may recommend vitamin D supplements. Number 3. Regular weight-bearing exercise. Engage in weight-bearing exercises like walking, jogging, dancing, or strength training. These activities help stimulate bone formation and maintain bone density. Number 4. Quit smoking. Smoking has been linked to lower bone density and an increased risk of fractures. Quitting smoking is beneficial for overall health, including bone health. Number 5. Limit alcohol consumption. Excessive alcohol consumption can negatively impact bone health. If you drink alcohol, do so in moderation. The recommended limit is 1 drink per day for women and 2 drinks or less per day for men. Number 6. Maintain a healthy body weight. Being underweight can contribute to bone loss, so it's important to maintain a healthy body weight. However, extreme dieting or excessive weight loss can also be detrimental to bone health, so aim for a balanced approach. Number 7. Bone density testing. Discuss with your healthcare provider if you should have a bone density test to assess your risk for osteoporosis. The results can help guide interventions to prevent bone loss. Number 8. Monitor medications. Some medications, such as certain steroids and certain anticonvulsants, can affect bone health. If you are on long-term medication, discuss potential effects on bone density with your healthcare provider. Number 9. Balance and fall prevention. Take steps to prevent falls, as fractures can significantly impact bone health. This includes maintaining a clutter-free home, using handrails, wearing appropriate footwear, and addressing any issues with balance. Number 10. Healthy diet. Ensure a well-balanced diet that includes an adequate intake of nutrients essential for bone health, such as magnesium, phosphorus, vitamin K, and vitamin C. Your bones support you every day. Now, it's time to give them the care they deserve. As you embark on this journey, know that a commitment to bone health is a gift to your future self, a promise of strength, resilience, and a life well lived. Thanks for joining us today. This program is produced by Sani Productions, powered by UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
I'm Dr. Sandy Nixon. I'm the economist of PDM Parliament Model, who sits at the Secretariat, and I'm in charge of pillar number 4, which is social services, and also Ediamfuna, which we call economics. So far, so good. As PDM, we come closer to the people, and that's its purpose, that bring service closer to the communities. Therefore, we made sure we come closer to the people. I myself, we came to know that these people are in need, mostly in Natet parish, because of the various activities they are doing. Therefore, we engaged them, and we had to call also other partners to come in to support, mostly on mindset. Yes, to change their mind from what they are doing to come up and they do what is right, mostly for economic transformation. Briefly about NATED, that the leaders of the parish, both political and the parish development model, are so innovative, and they have that will, what we call patriotic will, to make sure that people move from the subsistence householding to money economy. As you can see, some of them have now started getting income. Some of them have improved by constructing their shelters, only receiving 1 million from parish development model. It is real and it really works. As we talk of, it is economic social transformation, as well as someone's pocket or income increases, even the lifestyle changes. What he has been eating, where has been sleeping, it automatically changes. After getting the money, the income increases, then the life changes. They now move to hotels, they move to other sorts of income generating activities. Because we know the most problem for Ugandans is capital, what we call seed capital. So the government, through parish development model, decided to come up and give them seed capital in terms of parish revolving funds. And when it say economic improving, automatically social life also what? Improves. You see them now educating their children, you see them changing now from even hotel management or hotel engagement, or you call it any hotel. You will see them even improving to another level. Some they will start even constructing these hotels. Now they are at higher level, not at low level, which we call Toninyira. But as we move on, as we say, the grace period for this man is 2 years. After 2 years, we expect that they would have moved from even Toninyira to another level. One, for those who have not yet received the money, I tell them to be patient. PDM is for everyone. The take of it, it is not money for sharing that all of us will receive at once. No. The few receives, then they wait for another round, they also receive. Government pledge is to give 100 million per parish every financial year. So that's financial year, this parish received 100 million. Therefore, 100 beneficiaries receiving 1 million each are there. Now this year, also this financial year, already they have the money, the 50 million. Government is topping another 50 million before end of this financial year, which is this month. So another 100 beneficiaries. As we move on. By the time we reach 5 years, we shall be having 500 beneficiaries in one parish. Direct beneficiaries. But as it revolves, because after 2 years this money comes back, they also give it to another person within that circle. That's why it is a parish circle. The money is for the parish circle that will remain revolving. So those who have not yet received, please be patient. Time will come, you also receive. However, I encourage you to contact your leaders, the LC leaders and the circle leaders on guidance how to reach, because they will not get you from the street and they give you money. No, it is a process. Register, identified by the community and the political leaders. You are put on our system. Then from the system, they give you the money. Now, those who think that PDM is not real, my colleagues or my fellow Ugandans, PDM is real. It has come. It is a pledge from the government, mostly from the president of Uganda, to transform our communities. Thank you very much. Yes, I remain Dr. Sandy Nixon, economist, PDM Secretariat.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, you are still watching Good Morning Uganda. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, your host, and right this minute, we now delve into the agenda segment. Now, during our agenda segment is where we normally handle topical discussions with a guest of the day. And today, in as much as we had this conversation last Thursday, there is now a new development. Traders last week started a strike, a sit-down strike, where they demanded that the government handle some of their issues. And to take you back, a couple of months ago, traders started a sit-down strike where they were striking against the EFRIS tax payment system, the e-tax payment system called EFRIS by the Uganda Revenue Authority. They also had other grievances, but that was at the forefront. And still to take you back, they had a meeting with the president sometime in May, and they were supposed to have another meeting in June, which was deferred to July, and again deferred to a later date that probably we will get to know, as I'm going to be speaking to Joshua Mawerere, who is the youth representative for CACITA, which is Kampala Capital City Traders Association. Now, the strike that was started last week was again called off over the weekend. What were the major reasons as to why the strike was called off? Were their demands given or attended to? This is the conversation we're exploring, and if you have any questions or contributions, you can join the conversation through WhatsApp number 0709602592. Also, I request you to leave your name when you leave a comment, and also don't call, please just text. We will read your feedback. Now going to you, Joshua. You're welcome to Good Morning Uganda.
Thank you. Good morning.
It's nice to have you. Are you happy?
Yes, I am happy as a person.
Okay, now let's go back to CACITA and the traders' issues. Are you happy with where things are right now?
No, we're not yet happy. We are not satisfied with what is taking place. As traders, we are still worried about how we sustain our businesses, more so putting in the frame the requirements for government and also what we anticipate government should do for us. You remember that we had the earlier strikes, and we put forward about 4 things. One was about INFRIS, and we are not against INFRIS. There are some other people who are using it and it's benefiting them. Those are the industries and supermarkets. We said INFRIS is not a tool that is framed and put together for the local traders to use, and does not fit our working environment, and therefore it's not helping us enhance doing business. It's only giving us a burden on how we do business, and we're finding hardships in making it our tool.
Okay.
And secondly, we talked about valuations of textile and garments. And we said that there are so many things that have been taxed that don't deserve to be on that list. There are things that we don't manufacture here and we still import them. Vests, socks, these things don't have to be put in that category of taxation. We've talked about the scale they are using, kilograms versus the value of the product that, of the cloth that we import. And we talked about the tax fairness. We talked about being able to understand and predict and know or anticipate what am I going to pay in terms of taxes. Not to reach this country and then it's a discretion of somebody to tell me this how much you're going to pay.
Oh, okay.
So I need to be able to anticipate my taxes, because then that limits my expenses wherever I am, or I know how to control, I know how to save, I know how to plan for my business. And then fourth, we talked about the utilization. We called it tax morale of this country. There's a very huge appetite to collect, and there's less appetite to follow up, meticulously use the taxes. And these are the things we complained about. And we met the president He promised, he addressed some things, and he promised to consult on infrastructure and tax valuations. And also he promised that corruption must be dealt with.
Okay.
And we called off the strike to give the president space to be able to consult. Now, as we stand today, those things still exist, and we still give the president a benefit of doubt to consult, like he asked, but we're calling him to say, our businesses are running down. We need you to give us answers on this.
So is that why, after you met the president, you were supposed to have 2 other meetings that have not yet occurred? You were supposed to have another meeting that has been postponed twice.
Correct.
So why exactly did you again decide to sit down, to lock your businesses and not go to work? Was it because you were calling to action the president or the government to come back again and look at you, the traders, and empathize with you, for lack of a better word?
For us traders, the president is the fountain of honor.
Yes.
And he made a promise to us to meet on the 31st of last month.
Yes.
And so we prepared psychologically, physically. We planned to close down and go and listen to His Excellency the President, and that meant the entire day we planned not to be in our businesses.
And for a trader, that's a
and for
big
a trader,
sacrifice.
that's a big sacrifice.
Okay.
And also for the president, a big sacrifice to say he has put off a day
Everything,
to
yes.
come and meet the traders. So we were in full anticipation, in full gear, and nothing, no communication, nothing happened.
That is on 31st or before?
Before and up to 31st,
yes.
the D-Day, no communication at all. So we still mobilize our people, 31st we must be in Kololo, and nothing happened. So we were so surprised and say, okay, since when did we go to this extent where the fountain of honor promises and then we have no communication and there's no action? So on the 1st, we said, okay, since there's no communication, we're going to strike again. We're going to close down our shops and show our dissatisfaction that we need to meet the president again. And on 1st, we received a communication, WhatsApp communication. Actually, it was the evening of 31st.
You received a WhatsApp?
A WhatsApp voice note from a minister in this government. And the minister was saying, this meeting has been postponed. The president is not available to see you people. We shall communicate another date.
How did
casually
now a WhatsApp message or voice note is something I send to my family group, my maid or something like
and
that.
And even to your dad, you have a way you are going to introduce it, because your dad has to understand that information. Now this came to our traders group. You can imagine. So it was very disrespectful. It was not courteous at all. It was somebody throwing there a message on behalf
of the president,
of the fountain of honor. I think that was total disregard of the person who sent that message to the one who actually to the receivers. It was total disregard. Then even it was total disregard to His Excellency the President, because you don't communicate like that for your boss,
especially if your boss is the president.
Exactly. It doesn't add up. So the minister was not in any way courteous when sending that message. And as traders, we felt disregarded as a community, and yet we feel that we're contributing significantly to this country in terms of
when
taxes.
you look at the national budget and framework paper, it shows that the private sector contributes about 40+% of when it comes to the country's taxes.
Correct. So we think that either the minister doesn't understand the protocol of communicating on behalf of the president, or the minister totally just disregards the trading community, or maybe we think that the minister casually communicates like this, and we want just to...
How has been communication prior? Have you ever received communication from this particular minister prior?
you know, there are a lot of changes that have happened in that office. So she has been new in office. We're starting to work with her recently, but we think that in any way, the president should be able to write, and we don't mind through who, because the president can delegate who writes on his behalf.
That's right.
But the mode of communication, I think the minister needs serious orientation. Completely. I think so. As a person, I think so. It does not behalf on traders. But as a person,
you think?
I think the minister needs to be oriented on how to communicate on behalf of his boss, of her boss. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we are having a conversation regarding the trader strike that happened last week, but also it was called off. So now what's the way forward after this strike has been called off? Have their demands been met yet? Why were they striking last week? Now, Mr. Joshua Mawere comes from CACITA, which stands for Kampala Capital City Traders Association, and he is the youth representative therein. Now, among the grievances that he shares is that the mode of communication from the Minister for Kampala to the traders in our WhatsApp group was in disregard of the traders and their grievances, and they felt disrespected, but also they felt that that's not how communication that is coming in from the president or on behalf of the president is supposed to be disseminated. So that was one of their grievances, in addition to the fact that the meeting they were supposed to have with the president was cancelled twice. Now, fast forward, there was the strike. By the time we spoke to Mr. Issa Sechito on Thursday, the strike was still ongoing. But then over the weekend, by the end of the weekend, the strike had been called off. What were the contributors to that led to the calling off of the strike?
We were called into a meeting with, actually it was called by the Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Nabanja. And so it was a meeting of traders and other stakeholders towards trade. And she laid on table communication from the president in a far better way. And secondly, she went ahead to write a letter and addressed it to CACITA and other stakeholders, saying the president understands that there was a meeting. He was fully knowledge of that meeting, and a few things came up that we needed to postpone that meeting to a future date. And he also added a reason that our prior place of meeting was Kololo. It's still under construction, and the president will find another date and a place of convenience for us to meet. Either we shall wait for Kololo to be completed, or we'll find another place. And we totally understand that, you know, the president has a protocol of how he sends down to meet the population. And we understand security issues and all that. We want to give him that space to be able to get the right place where he can meet us. And so it was right for us to call off the strike
because you got the communication that you were
that is
so
befitting.
In need of. Okay.
Exactly, that is so befitting. And so I want to thank the Right Honorable Nabanja for taking on that mantle. I think it was heavy for the earlier person, and she did it rightly, and we responded positively. And this is against the backdrop that people want to portray, that the traders are fighting the government, the traders are rowdy and not controllable. I think we are more rational people, and we love this country, and we're calling the president because we love him.
So speaking of the president and the meetings that do you have a date, first of all, a future date?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Yes.
Okay. Now, speaking about that meeting that might come forward, you have talked about the grievances of the traders. So what exactly, and I remember asking Mr. Sechito the same question, what exactly do you want the president to do? Because if it is the e-tax system, payment system, there are already businesses that have embraced it and it is working well. So do you need URA to reverse that when it comes to other local traders, or do you need adjustments in the system? What exactly can be the president's contribution towards this?
We told the president the issues with us using the INFRI system. All countries have gone E, and electronic payments is the way to go. But the way it's constructed, its utilities don't speak to the traders. We talked about our dynamics of our working environment. We talked about multiple different entrepreneurs in one shop, which we call shop pooling. We talked about internet issues. We talked about the gadgets we need to actually use INFRIs. We talked about the turnaround time, because for supermarkets that are adopting, they have several sales points to be able to handle the traffic. Now in Chikubo, I have one entrance that I am also using to dispense. Then how do I have several sales points?
Are there also cases where you're dealing in different products?
Exactly. We're doing in consorted products. So it is very impossible to be perfect with that system. And we asked URA through the president to come down to the traders, so we work out a formidable process that we can have the system work. So it's opposed to what people have painted, that traders don't want to pay taxes, which is totally wrong. We just want to have a system that works for us.
All right, and on the issue of measurements, the kilos vis-a-vis the value, what exactly do you want the president to do about that?
We told the president that you cannot measure cloth in terms of kilograms. We put on clothes. Some of them are very light but very expensive.
Like silk.
Like silk. It's very light but very expensive. There are those that are very heavy, like curtains, but they are cheap. So if you use kilograms as a measurement unit, then you're going to put people of kilograms, people of curtains out of business, yet they actually use lesser money to do business. So it's not right to say we're going to use kilograms as valuations for textile. Even if you want to stop importation of textile, which I think is not the right way to go, valuation of kilograms is not the best, because it helps government get cheated and the traders get cheated.
So what's best?
We need to use the value, the cost of the material I'm bringing in. If I bought it at 2,000, then that's what you tax.
Just like cars.
Just like cars. That's what we ask for, and it's the standard. It's the World Trade Organization standard. So we're asking, why is our URA deviating? So it's very reasonable. It makes a lot of sense. The other thing that we wanted the president to address us on is the VAT.
Value added
the
tax.
Value added tax. We told the president the dollar in 1996 was about, I think, 2,000, 2,200, 2,300, or between 1,800 to 2,200.
And yet this year we've had the dollar at almost 4,000.
Exactly.
Right now it is at 3,700.
Exactly. The pound was about 3,000 or 2,000 something.
And now it's
5,000. Then a business, even the Ugandan currency, the value of 10,000 in 1996 is not the value of 10,000 today.
Not anymore. The value of 1,000, because I remember there were I think around 98, 97, 96, when we could buy a bottle of soda at 300 shillings.
Exactly.
We could buy a kilo of sugar at 800 shillings.
Thank you.
But now you can't.
Now you can't. So we talked about the lifting of the threshold from 150 million, because that's what was set in 1996, to about 500 million or even 1 billion shillings. Now, when you lift that threshold, this is what it helps. It puts out of the tax bracket these lighter traders. So it doesn't become a problem for them. And then URA spends lesser money trying to onboard people who don't fit into the tax bracket, and then find itself with a bulk of people in the system that cannot pay.
So now what do you do to make them pay?
So exactly. So you spend more money harassing people to pay, and yet they're not in the tax bracket. So it's very important that the president addresses us on that, because when we reached out to URA, they said, we are implementers, we receive these things from Minister of Finance. We went to Minister of Finance said, okay, these are policy issues, they come from Parliament. We went to Parliament says, these are policy issues, but we're not the initiators. They come from Cabinet.
But now it looks like it's a blame game. Everyone is blaming someone.
Exactly.
So who is responsible? But Mr. Mawere, I would like to bring to get your attention on something else. Last week when we spoke to Mr. Issa Sechito, there was, I felt like when we talked to him, and later on when the landlords met, were met I think by the Prime Minister,
yes,
there were counter accusations where each one of them was saying that the other is politicking. So do you think that probably the cause has been politicized, and how does that impact the traders?
One of our biggest failures as traders is to be able to free our discussions from politics. And because there are policy issues and the regulatory issues, most of the people we approach want to carry it as a political tool for themselves. So somebody wants to be seen as somebody who is helping the traders to do something, as the savior.
Yes.
And that kills the entire runaround of things. We even have had ministers clash and say, I am the minister of so-and-so, it's me who's supposed to deal with it. And the other one says, but I am the minister of so-and-so, I'm the one who's supposed to handle this. Oh, the president, then another says, the president gave me the prerogative to
So
do
are
it.
they arguing because they really care, or because they just want to be the person who is fronted as to have brought a solution?
In some instances, we found that it's an exhibition of power for them. So unless about solving our issues. And we have been faced with that, and that's why we want to meet the president, because we think that he's going to be honest enough to understand our issues and maybe engage the people he needs to engage. We've seen attacks on some traders to be able to turn around against others, which I think is very unfair. The things we're speaking about are not because we don't love the government or would love the country.
It's not political.
It's not political.
The issues are non-political.
They're not political at all. We want to sustain trade, we want to sustain employment, we want to sustain people being able to put food on their tables, and we're answering SDGs for this country.
So now, when it comes to strikes, you had a strike earlier in the year, you had another one last week that you called off. Do you, in your own perspective, believe actually that strikes really work and bring results, or probably it's time to look at different ways of getting the attention that you need as traders? Have they worked in the past?
I would say yes, partly, because as much as they may not address the issues we have as traders, they call attention for the person who has answers to our causes.
So they are called to action.
So they are called to action. And we feel very bad as traders, because when we close our shops, we lose business.
That's right.
And the country loses taxes. And we think we are big contributors towards the tax base. And what we want to have, it's very unfortunate that in this country we have to strike before we can see the president. In many other countries, for example, I hate using the US, but in the US they had an issue about AI. And President Biden called all the people who are in AI and sat them in White House and said, what do we do? This is becoming a phenomenon, and we need to have answers to it. And they discussed, came up with a policy, and it was implemented. Now, it is very unfortunate that we can speak about taxes and then nobody is interested until we strike. And then the president then says, I'll meet the traders. I think it's very, very unfair to the president himself. Sometimes we are unfair to the country. If we close shops, there are so many people who depend on us, but then we have nothing to do. looks like it's the only solution, it's the only language that is being understood in this country.
So now, last week, when the landlords met with the Prime Minister, they did, because there were news reports indicating that the landlords, it was not you, the traders, that had decided to close your shops, that the landlords had actually decided to close their buildings. And the landlords later on denied that. But now that I have you here, what would you say about that? Was it a strike by the traders, or the landlords themselves had joined the strike?
It was a strike for the traders, but I also want to note that the landlords are traders.
Yes, they are.
They give us services
were they closing the buildings in their capacity as landlords or as traders? Was there a difference?
We closed our shops, and the landlord is responsible for their building, so they have to close up the building to make sure that people don't enter the shops and break them.
Okay.
So it was a responsibility on their part to safeguard also our businesses from intruders, because in history we've had people join at the strike, yet they're not traders, and they do other unconstitutional things within what we're trying to do. So for me, I think it was right for them to, and them denying, I think, it's not
you
fair.
saw that
yes, I
that
saw
they
it.
denied.
It wasn't fair on their part, because it is their responsibility. I mean, if I close my shop, it is your responsibility to close your building, so that people don't interfere with your building and they don't break things. So for me, I think that that's the political beat that is happening. We're having different engagements. And government has taken an approach that is not nice, because then it puts the landlords in a corner, puts the traders in another corner.
It makes you look like you're different from
like
each
we're different,
other.
Exactly. It is very unfair, because our issues are intertwined. We one and the same. We all traders at different scales and different sectors.
Yes.
And I think government needs to take on a holistic approach to some of these issues. They are not issues that are simple to handle, and we actually have that in mind, because it affects the incomes of this country.
Yes.
But we cannot run away from this discussion, and government can't run away from it, because we might be a simpler population to deal with, but then we don't want it to go out of hand, because if something is not addressed, then it comes together with so many other things that
it spirals
out with so many other things that cause a lot of issues. We think that it's better for us to address this instantly.
To address these issues timely. Well, the traders had a sit-down strike last week that they eventually called off. And we are having a conversation with Mr. Joshua Mawere from Kasita to tell us why they eventually called off the strike. Well, excuse me, I have feedback here. Someone is saying, let the president come down and give responses towards what he has been asked when they met. I think he's referring to the meeting they had in May, and he would like the president to pronounce himself on some of the demands of the traders. Now, Chizito Joseph says the point is they lack information, period. What's your say on that? I can see you vigorously shaking your head and disagreeing.
I think Chizito is not fair to us. Chizito, I want to tell him that in the trading community, we have people who have retired from high-profile offices, and they have joined trade because they are in retirement. We have young people who have gone to school. Trade is the biggest employer of schooled young people. We have people who have moved from their former jobs
to join trade
because it looks like it's more beneficial, or it is more profitable, or it's more convenient for them.
And they tell us no one will ever get rich by being an employee.
You can't, because you're in somebody's vision, and this is where you progress with your own vision. So Chizito is very unfair. I think he has not had time to interact with some of us who have been all over the place in terms of trade and in terms of information. I think he just needs to get more acquaintance.
So it's him that needs
information.
To be informed, yes. Interesting.
It's him who needs
so, Mr. Moire, before we close...
About the other one talked about the president needs to address these issues.
Yes.
Yes, we think so. We have laid on table all our issues that need to be addressed by the president. The president is very much aware of them. Even in a letter, and he says, you talked about increase. This is my take on it.
Yes.
We talked about the valuations. This is my take on it. You talked about tax morality. This is my take on it. You talked about VAT. This is my take about it. I mean, even in a letter that comes to us, we would be comfortable with it.
Yes.
The issue is that everybody in this support system has said the answers must come from
the president.
That's why I want to meet him.
Okay. Are those your parting shots?
I want to tell the traders that we are one of the biggest stakeholders in this country. Whatever we do will affect us. It also affects the country. And it's important that we do it responsibly and also continuously press for the issues that we think must help traders sustain business. And I want to encourage that we continue to be disciplined. We continue to not politicize our issues, and we continue to be unified, united in these issues. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Thank you for hosting.
Well, that is Mr. Joshua Mawere, who is the youth representative at Kampala Capital City Traders Association. Traders called off the strike that they started last week, and now we are asking, what's the way forward? If you've just caught the tail end of this conversation, you can check out our YouTube channel and you will be able to get the entire conversation. I'll be saying goodbye for now, but Ruben Pima is coming your way to give you sports updates. Stay tuned.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah yo, baby dondolo.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any